Hello and a very warm welcome to Her Space. In this podcast, it's all about women inspiring women. We share stories of women and mothers across the globe to inspire other women who are coming after us. Karibuni sana. Today we have a very, very special guest, a good friend of mine who is a mom, a leader in the finance sector, works in the public sector, and I will ask her to introduce herself. A very warm welcome, Frankie. I'll call you Frankie.
That's
But
okay.
Please introduce yourself.
That's okay. Hi all, my name is Francisca Wavinya Mwanza. My good friends call me Frankie. Almost everybody calls me Frankie. I'm a mom to 3 beautiful girls. I'm also an accountant by profession. As introduced by Edna, I'm a leader at my workspace. I work for the public sector.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yeah, and you'll tell us about working for the public sector, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, so thank you so much for coming and honoring the invitation. In this Her Space, we delve deeper into the world of motherhood, and how motherhood impacts us in other spaces of our lives. So I would like us to start with talking about your mom. I know her. So how has, tell us a little bit about your mom and how she has impacted your own motherhood journey.
Okay. Well, my mom has been a darling. She's always been there for me for as long as I can remember. I mean, my mom has always been there to date, and I thank God she's still there, very, very present in my life. I think my mom's vocation is motherhood. She's so dedicated.
It's gone beyond a role now, it's
Yes,
vocation.
for her it's a vocation. For her it's a vocation because she takes a very keen interest in each and every child individually. Each of us just feel like, you almost feel like you're an only child with her. Just the way she
Personalizes
takes,
the
yes,
relationship.
the way she takes a lot of time. And interesting because she was also a working woman. Yeah, so from her I was able to see that you can actually do both. You can, so to speak, have your cake and eat it. You can work as a lady, and you can also raise a family. And as much as it's difficult, she took it in her stride. So I think for me, it was not something that difficult. So, I mean, she's been very influential in my life, and she continues to be even today, as I said. I'm able to tap into her for words of wisdom, encouragement, and all that in my journey of motherhood. Yes.
What are some of the things that, maybe 2, 3 things that you can say from how you saw her mothering you, you're now passing on or doing it now as you're
Yeah.
raising your daughters?
Well, to be honest, my mom set the bar really, really high.
I know that.
Yeah, my mom set the bar really, really high. So, I mean, I can pick from anything. I can just give a few examples of things that she did for me that now I'd like to inspire to do, especially the part that she was a present mother.
Yeah.
She's always been a very present mother, and there are instances I remember when I was doing my class 8 exam. It used to be a big deal those days. You're doing your KCPE. She would always take leave for each and every of her child, so that that whole week she focuses on you. And the house would focus on you. For example, like she would make your favorite meal. So, I mean, you'd feel like the center of the universe. So you'd go to school so happy and like super excited. It was, and then when you'd come back, she'd ask you, how was it? What do you want to eat? Today I made your favorite, let's say you like chapatis, I made for you. So that whole week was about that child who was doing the exam. Yeah, so she was really present. And even when I think about my high school, there's not a single visiting day
She missed.
she missed. Not a
She
single.
would not miss it for the world.
Yes, and she would come packed with everything. Even if you write crazy things, I want chapati, and I also want bajia, and I also want pilau. You know, she would not
make all of them.
Yes,
She would not be like, I made one.
Yes, so she'd come with all of them. So she was really present, and I think even to the point that I was a mother, she also walked that journey with me. So I think being a present parent, I would like to pick that from her.
Yeah.
And then also as I grew older, she moved from a space of being more of like a parent to being more of like a companion or a friend.
Yeah.
So where we are in life, we are friends.
Yes.
So I've also picked that, during different phases of motherhood, you change the tact a bit. So now we're friends, basically. We talk about everything and anything. And,
Yeah.
you know, the way when you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm not going to tell my mom this. She's going to get so pissed.
Now you're girls.
Yeah, now we are girls.
Yeah. We always felt like it was always like that.
Yeah, yes.
For you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like you to just look at that camera and tell her something.
Oh, to my mom.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Take advantage of this moment.
I just want to tell mommy, I love you so much. You're a perfect gift from God. And I thank God that I was born your daughter and not any other mommy. Thank you so much for the sacrifice, for the love, and I wish you all the best and long life, that you may see my children have children. And I know that will be your joy.
Amen.
Amen.
May that be. May it be.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you stay with your mom. Your kids were
Yes.
here earlier, and they
Yeah.
talked about. They said very good things about you.
Yeah.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for coming to my show. I'm a very proud auntie, mommy. Yeah. So in my show, we talk about mothers, and we also talk to children. And like me, I talk about my mom, and you guys can talk about your mom, and anything you would like to say about her. So you can just say your names, and then you just tell me 2 things that you want to say about your mom, things you like about your mom.
Okay, my name is Noelani Mudhoni.
My name is Martha Wawinya.
Our mom she's a very strong woman. She's very, I'm struggling to find the word,
Okay.
but you can,
Like, she cares like for our whole house.
Okay.
And in our house there are like
There
a
are
lot of
lots.
people.
You can count them. They're quite a lot.
we're like 9,
9.
maybe,
Yeah.
probably even 10.
Quite a
We're a
family.
lot, yeah.
A big family.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And she's the one who like takes care of everyone.
It's a single parent home, so she like funds and takes care of everyone in the
Home.
family, yeah.
Wow.
So I would say she's very strong, she's very determined, she's very caring, and she's very giving.
Yeah.
She like sometimes sacrifices her own like happiness, her own things to provide for us. And I feel like that's very strong of her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Caring.
Yeah.
And caring.
Yeah.
Thank you. What are some of the things you like to do with her? Like today, you're out here on a Friday.
Yeah. We're always shopping with her. We sometimes like watch movies together.
Oh, nice.
We cook together. Yeah, sometimes we just sit in the sitting room and talk. You know, we bond over small things because we barely get to, like when we have a chance to bond, we take it because she's at work, we're at school, so
Yes.
it's very few chances. And
Sometimes
when
she comes home
like you know her work sometimes makes her like stay
busy.
yeah, she's a very busy person. So when we have time to bond with her, we really take that opportunity. Yeah.
And go for glam sessions like today.
Yeah.
Oh, looking nice. Wow. So I would like you to say something to her on that camera. Just talk to her.
Thank you so much for everything. I know it's not easy, and sometimes I like try to imagine what it would be like to be in your shoes, and I really want to say thank you because you're very strong, and I want to grow up to be like you.
like carry like the whole family. It's a lot.
It's not easy, and I mean sometimes we know like you're tired. It's visibly like we can tell you're tired, but you still like hide it, so we can, you know, like get to bond with you, but we can tell like you need your space. But I mean, you sacrifice all that for us, and we're really grateful.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What would you like to say, Mother?
I'm also very grateful for everything. Even since I was small, I don't even think words can explain. But in short, I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
Now you're making me cry. Oh, so we have to end it because I'm crying. Come here, both of you. Oh,
Yeah.
I love you,
Love you,
mommy. Oh, thank you. You
You're
did well.
welcome.
Good job. They said how you're resilient and how you're feeding 9 mouths.
Yeah, I don't even know I got into that space, but yeah. There
So,
I am.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So how did that happen?
Well, probably I'll get back to it, but at some point, I felt that I needed a bit of her help, especially with my youngest child. So my youngest daughter is autistic, and the journey is quite tough, especially because of hospital runs. And when you're a career woman, sometimes you just need that support system to be really, really close. So I just started a few months, maybe like 6 or so months, until I get the wing of things, and then it worked out.
And now
It
you're
worked out
all happy together.
Yes, we were all happy together. And then, as it turns out, I've been reading something about how when grandparents are with their grandkids, they actually live longer.
Yes, themselves.
Yes.
Because now your dad and your mom,
Yeah.
it's like they're like feeling like they're parenting.
Exactly.
So they've come back to 40s.
Not even the parenting bit as such, because they don't parent. They literally like the parenting is mine.
Yeah, but they're also just supporting it. So
it's-
like they feel like they're taking care of their little family again.
Just to see, like the way maybe your parents might worry, how's my child coping and
miss
all
them,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So that is not there. They have it daily.
They
There's a
see
daily
you.
dose of love.
So
I
your
mean,
siblings must be jealous.
well,
Yeah.
Nilijinyakulia haraka
I
haraka.
know. I wish my parents would just
I
agree to do that even for a week.
I know.
I've
Yes.
not had them both unless I go to their house.
I know.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
they
so
would.
it's like a symbiotic relationship where
Yeah.
you can also see that it's good for them.
It's beautiful. And then the
Yeah.
kids, you don't have to tell them about them. 'Cause
Exactly,
they
it's
get to
not
know them.
stories. Yeah,
They get to know
They
them.
get to have them firsthand.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So how has your own motherhood journey been? And we'll talk about your youngest one.
Yeah.
How has your motherhood been? If you think about now, you have a 14-year, you have teenagers.
Yes.
You also have a 3-year-old
Yes.
who has
Yeah.
additional needs.
Yes.
How has that been?
Ah,
And you're
yeah.
also a high-profile professional. You're like a busy executive.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you balance?
First, let me just say, how's the journey been? The journey has been, well, interesting, because with the older two, I was much younger. I think I was in my 30s.
Yeah, we thought that like you were 22.
I know.
You look so young.
Yeah, so I got my first daughter when I was 30. I was just turning 30. Yeah, my firstborn. So with those two, it's been a bit easier because, I mean, you're still energetic, you're still young in terms of career. I think you're still either middle management or lower management. So the demands are not so much. But even for me, I think the energy levels were higher when I was younger. Either that or like, I don't know how to say I was torori, but really, like you don't overthink, you just go with the flow.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was, in fact, the other day I sat and I thought about it. I used to go everywhere with my firstborn girl. Anywhere.
All those days, yes.
Yeah, even a party, whatever, it wasn't a big deal. Just get a car seat, throw her inside, pack little,
Yes.
put the potty in there, off we go.
It was that easy.
Yeah, it was that easy.
You were that flexible.
Yeah, but when you get a child in your 40s, there's a bit of thinking about it. Okay, I need to be a bit more pragmatic.
Loading the potty to your friend's house.
Yes, I've
been doing that.
Okay, yeah, so like, do I carry the nanny? I think those days I never even used to move around with the nanny. I do it myself.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I do it myself. Yeah, so there's a bit more of, I became a bit more of a planner towards that. So I think the journey later has been a bit more, I don't say intentional, but a bit more challenging. And especially because the little one, as I indicated, is autistic. So there's a lot more that you need to consider as you
move around.
Exactly, as you move around. Yeah.
And what about the age? Because these are teens.
Yeah.
I've been hearing people talk about mothering teens.
Yes. So in fact, From my experience, you know, the terrible 2s or terrible 3s, those are nothing compared to teenagers, because the little one, their need is more, I would say, a physical need.
Yeah.
You get a physical need and all that. But the needs of the teenagers are more emotional needs. Their needs are more, they will not really fuss about things like the physical things here and there. They're more intent on things you say, how you say them, time you're spending with them. You get. So that actually is the bigger part. And you have to be an intentional parent. In fact, I keep on telling my girls that, you know, this is the first time I'm a mother to a teenager.
Yes.
So I'm also learning, please.
They
Nipeleke
don't
tu pole
expect
pole.
too much.
Yeah, and then they also tell me, even us, it's the first time we are teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And they're
also
Gen Zs.
understand us. Yeah, so
Say it as it is.
yeah, that one you cannot la 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 through it. You have to be very intentional. You have to learn about what's the personality of each individual kid. Each child has a different personality, a different need. Well, this one needs this, the other one might need that. Yeah, one might want a bit of quiet time, the other one wants, let's now sit and talk. Yeah.
You have to be their friend. They said you're their friend.
Yeah, I really try, and I hope to get there. To get there.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are other parents out there who are mothering or dadding teens.
Yeah.
What are the 1, 2, 3 things that help people navigate, or what you've learned?
Yeah, well, definitely, like I said, I'm not expert. I'm no expert.
Yes.
I am just learning.
A day at a time.
I'm learning a day at a time. But I think what I've come to learn is it's a delicate balance, and it makes you sit back and think. So you have to sit first of all and decide what are our family values. Discuss them with them. They want to be involved.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they really do want to be involved. And I think they're at the point where now you're not like dictating things. You're trying now to coach them to become young adults. For me, what is very clear, in a couple of years, like 3 or 4 years, they're adults into this world. So if you're busy being authoritative, nimesema, osha vyombo, mama nitarini.
It have happened.
Yeah. And somebody the other day told me something very profound, a common friend of ours. She told me, like, for example, if it's a chore, let's say it's washing dishes, it's about self-love.
Okay.
Do I take care of myself? So if you give them that perspective, cleaning your clothes, your room, the dishes is about taking care of yourself. So they'll not just be doing it to get over with a chore.
Yes.
There's a bigger picture to all of this. And you're also empowering them with a skill.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, like, for teenagers, to be honest, it's not just about feeding, telling them, I said do this and do that. There's a lot of, from my little experience, it's very little, a couple of years, it's more of making them understand the reason behind the why. Then now there's little resistance.
Yes.
Otherwise, utapata maandamano, my friend.
In your house, twigs. I like that
Maandamano.
because actually we've seen that because we are now in my market research practice.
Yeah.
We've spent the last 2 months analyzing Gen Zs and understanding them, because brands are now faced with this challenge of how do we we've seen them speak about country very boldly.
Yes.
And we have also seen them speak up at workplace.
Yes.
Very boldly. And those are the same values that I've heard you say.
Yeah.
Because, like you're saying, cleaning the dishes and cleaning your room is self-love.
Yes.
So for them, they're very concerned about values.
Yes.
Deep values.
Yeah.
So I think that is what parents need to tie everything into, because they're value driven individuals.
Yeah.
Very value driven.
Yeah.
And so if they see the values of what you're saying are connecting with what they believe in, then I think you will not have a lot of problems with them. And that is why they're questioning how the country is governed, because of their values. So
That's
they
true.
are very honest. So they're wondering, why would another person not be honest? So I think that is the understanding that we've picked, and I'm happy that even parents are picking it.
Yeah. We're also picking. And then something else I also noticed with teenagers is, You know, during our times, it was just clear cut. There's even a song. So many vijana, remember it? Uongeze bi kwa bidii
We
something.
were singing it in Kikuyu, so I don't know.
Kusoma. Oh, right. Utapata kazi nzuri sana. That
Back
one.
in Othaya, we were singing it in Kikuyu.
Oh,
So
really?
I only know so many vijana. Hiyo ingine I didn't want to say because I'm so bad in Swahili.
So it was first read, get good grades,
And then
get
be
a
employed.
job. Yeah,
Yes.
but now it's really different.
Yes.
And so something I've also seen is trying really early on to identify what could be the strength of your child. Does not necessarily have to be
Physics,
yeah, or
chemistry,
books.
or all together.
Exactly.
They might just be good in cooking.
Yeah, and you see the beauty of it nowadays. A lot of those, I won't call them skills. A lot of those things that you can do can be turned into skills.
Yes.
Yeah, be it
And,
cooking,
and monetized.
exactly. So be open to that, even if you don't understand. So I might not understand something like, for example, you know, my child would just want to do what, I don't know, take photos of things here and there, and then and I'm thinking it can waste the child's time. But encourage it, because it's something that you can use that passion,
Yes,
to assist them, you know, push towards something that they're actually interested in.
yeah.
You get? Because sometimes I find people in our generation, we did things, but now we're in the office space and we're just like, just dead zombies. We're just there.
We are doing what we did in school.
Yes.
Not following
What
our passion.
truly, yeah.
And your passion could be music.
Exactly.
And today we have now the digital revolution, so you could also be a TikToker.
Yeah. So also spend time just finding out what is my child passionate about. And you don't even have, it's not that you're serious quest you're going through. Wasikilize tu, listen to them. Yeah. You will hear them mentioning it somewhere along the way. I'd like to do this. I'd like to try this. Yeah.
And help them
exactly
as they're evolving.
Yeah.
Sam, that's beautiful. I enjoyed them. They're quite and they're deep.
Really?
14, 13, and they said things that made us cry.
Oh. That's lovely.
Yeah,
That's lovely.
So they're growing well, and you've done a very good job.
Asante, thank God.
Yeah, you've handled it very well.
Yeah.
So how let's talk about your younger one, Zara.
Yes.
Tell me about her and how is that evolving? She's 3.
Yes. Yeah. Zara is 3. I mean, I do not know how far back you'd like me to go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she was just a regular child. Up to the point she was, I think, 1 and a couple of months, going towards 2. She was diagnosed at that point with autism, and I think from there it's just been a complete roller coaster ride for me, because it comes with a lot of issues, emotional, physical, monetary. I don't even know what to say. Everything, your whole world is turned upside down. Yeah.
I totally understand that.
So it has been not easy, but we are learning. We're learning as we grow, and I think what is there. I'm cognizant of the fact that once a parent gets such a diagnosis, you go through a grieving process.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
because it's not what you expected.
Exactly. It's not really what you expected. It's not what you were thinking. So you go through a grieving process of having to let go of that idea of the trajectory of how my child will go.
Yeah.
Now to being open to whatever comes.
Yes.
You know?
You just allow the child.
Yeah, and that one
with
is
no
so
milestones.
Hard. It's so hard because especially if you're like someone who's, kwanza like, no, I'm in the finance field, we're accountants. We like to know. If 1 + 1 is like 2, it cannot be 3, 5, or negative. It can't be another thing.
And me, the marketer, I'm happy to make it 6.
Yeah. So now, with Zara, 1 + 1, my friend, can even be 11.
Yeah. And I think also for me, because you raised another child.
Yes.
I told you my son is also in the spectrum.
Yeah.
And he is the only one
I've
had, and I have not had another child.
Yeah.
But I believe, I think it's good also for maybe our audience, for you to, the fact that you're diagnosed very early.
Yes.
Because there are some people who say you need to wait until maybe 3 years, or is it possible to diagnose a child early, or how does that go?
Okay.
Because for me, I think we stayed for long until 2.5. We still didn't know because we kind of thought maybe COVID and the fact that we were all alone and he didn't have socialization. So we started thinking that it could be delayed speech. And that's what we were believing and being told by other people until almost 2.7. And I think it's very difficult. I don't know whether people can be able to know earlier.
Well, for me, I was, I think it was easier for me because you see, I had other 2 kids. So I knew what are the milestones.
You knew the milestones.
I knew so I didn't even need anybody to tell me that there's something off.
Okay.
I just knew that there is something off with my baby because simple things like she was able to say bye and thumbs up.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
I think at 18 months.
The others?
No, her even.
Oh, okay.
And then it just stopped.
Okay.
She was able to climb up a stairs. You know, when they're really small and you have in a house that has a stairs, you're actually told to teach a child how to use the stairs, like a crawl and all that. She was able to do that. Then one day just realized that she does not want to.
Okay.
So some regression, let me put it, happened. So to me, I knew something was off. So what I would just urge parents is that, so I didn't go seeking for it, let me put it that way. I was lucky to have a pediatrician who also picked out that the milestones had stopped progressing. So I had a pediatrician who would give us some sort of like templates at every milestone. We go tick, can your child do this? Can
I
your child...
used to hear you guys talk about milestones a lot like that.
Yeah.
My pediatrician, even up to date, still says, let the child just go to school. He'll speak. He's just like Edna, no. He's a boy. I mean, I know. And she's one of the, you know,
renowned pediatricians. What I've noticed in the medical field, autism and many other neurodivergent children, you find there's such a wild array of what a doctor thinks. You get?
Also maybe because it's also a spectrum.
Exactly. Yeah. And then also probably they don't want to make you as a parent panic. Early. So it depends with the doctor, I'd say highly. So I had a doctor who was very scientific. Let me put it that way. Very, very scientific. So she would give us a form at 1 year, tick this. Is your child talking? Is your child blah, blah, blah? Then she tells you come back at 3 months. At 3 months, she's expecting a few miles. And she gives you activities to do. E.g., roll a ball, like play with the child, roll a ball to the child. Is she able to do it like that, like that? So because I would fill that form, I started realizing at some point we were at 90%, but now we are like only 50%. The other time we were like 30%. In fact, I think at some point I just didn't give her the form. I told her, doc, you know, I didn't feel it, but I felt like a feeling of just doom, like terrain. I was like, oh no, like a black cloud.
It's falling.
It's falling. It's like following me everywhere. So I had to have a meeting with myself. I was like, you know, Frankie, you can see something's off. You either take the bull by its horns or continue in this doom and gloom. So I was like, you know what? Something's off. Let me just know what it is. I deal with it. Because the feeling of dread, I started dreading going to the pediatrician. And then I am able to read emotions very well.
Okay.
So you have to be somebody with a proper poker face. So I could see her looking at the baby, then her face would just change. I'm like, ooh.
She didn't want to say something.
Then she notices, like I have noticed, she changes her face back to, like, I think we need to do a few tests, but I could just tell she's also concerned. So she sent me for all sorts of tests, or do this. Eventually she said, to be honest, there is a challenge with the development of this baby. And she actually said, I am not an expert.
Okay.
I will refer you to a developmental pediatrician. Please go see this developmental pediatrician for blah, blah, blah. I also dilly-dallied. I took long, and every time I'd go to see her, she'd ask me, have you gone? I'm like, yeah, doctor, I'm just feeling like skin are bad news. She would say, okay, I understand, but please just do whatever you need to do and go. So she really pushed me. Eventually, I went to see the pediatrician. The pediatrician the pediatrician looked at the baby, then said, we need to do some certain specific tests.
No comments.
Yeah, you need to do some certain specific tests. So because I had had a sense, being the academician, kaingia Mr. Google, to tips and whatever.
Yes.
So yeah. So at the point of doing the tests, I carried along my sister because I had a feeling I will get a diagnosis that's going to be very difficult. Yeah, so I braced myself. I said, I need somebody there in case I break down. So we went with my sister. The doctor did the thing. When she told us, your child is autistic, I immediately accepted because I could see. My sister, of course, was really pushed back. No.
Had you suspected the diagnosis?
Yes.
Had you told your sister?
Yes.
Oh, and she had denied even?
Yes, she even confronted the doctor. She said, no. I mean, you can't just do a bunch of tests.
I know,
and then make a conclusion. Yeah. But I mean,
like
at the end of the day, my encouragement would be just take the bull by the horns and face it. Reason is because there are interventions that need to be done and they need to start immediately like this.
Yeah.
And then, when you're denying them, when you're denying that the time you waste,
not accepting
the time you take to accept, because you're also not wasting it. The time you take to
processing
and your child also needs. And sometimes I told myself, let's say it's something like cancer.
Yeah.
When you go see a doctor and you're told you have cancer, you need to start chemo tomorrow. Do you go home and stay for another 10? People start. You get.
Yeah. You need to start immediately because you also don't want to be told.
Yeah.
What if you started yesterday?
Exactly. And people start. Yeah. So I thought, you know what? Let's just start the therapies. I will find my healing along the way. Because if I say I'm going to wait until I am ready, I'll be doing a serious disservice to this little one.
I think it's a big challenge. And of course, as we've been talking about our babies, it's something that needs to be known.
Yeah.
Of course, I think for me, the way I knew was so bad.
Yeah.
Because I was completely out of awareness.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had never raised a child.
I know.
So I didn't even know milestones.
So you did.
I think by the time you read Baby Center for like until 1 year, and
then
you stop
you're
it,
like,
and he had achieved. He was already making some sounds, babbling, and everybody was like, oh, he's just about to burst with speech. And then he was walking. He even walked earlier. And so we kept on this, and everyone is like, COVID babies, they're delaying because then there's no socialization.
That's true.
And until I had this used to be friend of mine, because now we are no longer friends. And that's the challenges of this, what we are going through. And she decided to take me for dinner, entertain me, to tell me the bad news in the worst way possible. And I think nobody in the world should do that to anyone. Like, oh, you've been thinking that your child has delayed speech, your child is autistic. I just fell down.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was a big outbreak. I was out of order. I called my hubby, I called my sisters, everybody. Like, it's like I woke up from a bad dream. And of course, and I feel bad that, and the reason why I'm happy that we are no longer friends is because she didn't even support me. She
don't
was
need
not
negativity
sorry.
at all.
She did not support me. She didn't even follow up. And that was the last time I ever saw her that night. And after that, of course, it also like just brought the awareness. And so I now had to leave this my nice pediatrician who was being nice to me. I still like her a lot. She's quite elderly. And now look for, in fact, for me, it was interesting because I went online now. And the first thing I saw was an author from South Africa who's written a beautiful book called Saving My Sons. And I went to her website, I looked for her number. I think I wanted to speak to, I talked to my brother, and my brother also is, my brother is a modern doctor who has traditional values. My brother, he's the doctors who will not give his kids medicine.
I understand. What's a immunity?
Yes. So I told him, and he was like, no, he's still young. He's only 2.5. He'll speak, and then he's like, he smiles, this child. He was like, autistic kids don't show emotions, but this one is smiling, this one is. So there was a lot of all that, but this lady became my best support system. Thank you, Ilana, because she, and we became friends online. We started doing Zoom.
Oh, wow.
And we would do Zoom, and then I would show her my boy, and then she connected me to a lot of support.
Yeah.
You know, like people who've been, and we even now we are still working together. She does ABA. We were almost trying to start it online, but it was so difficult.
It was very difficult.
But I think how parents are learning is very, very important.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, maybe and the good thing is that you and I are looking at what we can do, because I think it is very important for us to help the society get to know early.
Yes.
And even, you know, like this whole thing of saying boys speak late.
I know.
Or
I know.
yeah. and if you have to tell someone, don't do it like my old friend. Don't do it in a mean way. Do it in a compassionate way. I like how your pediatrician was very compassionate. That is how to, you know, so that they don't also lose you.
Yes.
And lose the baby.
And I'm sure she knew. But she was like, go see somebody who's a specialist in that area. Because when I came back to tell her this is the diagnosis, she did not even look shocked.
She just went on.
Yeah, she was like, okay, anyway, just continue with it. I mean, she already had suspected, but she knew it was not her place to put it there. And I think we also need to be careful. Unless you're a medical expert in that field, let's withhold from making random diagnoses about people's children. Because they are delayed developments, and then they are kids who have additional needs, and that must be actually diagnosed properly so that the right treatment can be followed. And even after that, there's a lot of stigma, I feel, unfortunately, for kids with different needs. And the thing that I struggle with, and I feel sometimes very angry, and I tell myself, this is grief now. You have not finished your cycle of grief. You know me, I think I finished because I started with acceptance.
So early.
Yeah, because me accepted.
I used to love, and thank you for helping me, because oh my God, Frankie, you are so good.
No, I accepted. Because you see, Edna, if I tell you this is a table and you refuse or whatever, you're like, no, it's a kind of stool. You know? It's a furniture. Accept.
And I think also people accept differently. Like for me, it was accepting into taking action faster.
Exactly.
Because I thought it is something that we would get done with. For me, my personality is for completing
the task.
I like completing tasks. Like we were having this podcast today, tick, done, I'm happy. So I don't know how to deal with something that is prolonged. In fact, even I used to even wonder how I'll do marriage, because I used to think
just like never
let's
ending.
quickly finish, move. I don't know
What is the next thing?
what. Then marriage is for forever.
That is the thing.
And I think that for me, that was my biggest struggle.
Yes.
And I think now I had to do the second acceptance of now. It's not ending.
Exactly.
And that was the best time. Now where we are now, just day by day, and we are celebrating anything that happens.
Exactly.
You know, like every day, and also starting to appreciate this human who is different but so beautiful and so amazing. And they'll do great things.
They'll
do great things.
Definitely.
They'll do great things. And I'm also enjoying, you know, like the way we are teaching our kids and the rest of our kids in the community how to,
for sure,
to embrace diversity.
For sure.
For
sure.
So how have you been integrating, so as we close, because by the way, we must come back here, Frankie, to talk about autism.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
It's a huge topic.
It is.
But I love that you and I have committed ourselves to helping other parents and looking for solutions through our initiative for school and also the other things that we're going to do to just ensure that no other parent will have to go through the shocks and pains, that it can be a smooth journey because every child comes to this world to serve a purpose.
For sure.
And ours came that way for their purpose. So we have to, and God is giving us the grace, we tap into it, and then we are able to navigate. So how do you balance your kids said you're busy mama, and they worry for your own health. How do you integrate? How do you juggle between your busy public sector career and motherhood? Now a mother of teenagers, another a child with additional needs, a single mom, feeding 9 mouths. Feeding a lot of people.
Did they count dogs? I think they added the dogs to
2 dogs. Jesus.
They added
and a
the
huge
dogs
compound. The president needs to give you tax holiday.
Well, integration. Well,
Or how do you do it?
Yeah.
Do you feel swamped?
Sometimes I do, yeah, I'll not lie. Sometimes I do, sometimes it's a lot. But then I'm like, okay, luckily, all these decisions, I made them myself. You know, you're where you are as a product of your decisions. So
Yes.
nobody put them on you.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
so
so,
serious, Frankie.
No,
Ish.
you asked
It's a very
me.
serious answer. Okay.
I must rationalize it somehow for it to make sense. First of all, they are my decisions.
Yes.
Every single one of them. And by the way, even when I go back, I would make them again.
Again, you're happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with them. So for me, it's like a, what can I say? Like you're having balls in the air.
Yes.
Remember, there was an analogy by some CEO from Coca-Cola who talked about balls in the air, and then there is only one glass ball.
Okay.
Which is
Which
family.
one would you?
Yeah. So the rest, to me, can break. Okay, they're made out of plastic, so they're not gonna break. They'll have highs and lows. But family, for me, is really important. So my priority is always on family. And then I always try and remember the reason why I have work is to be able to support
The family.
this family. And then there'll always be work. But my family and my kids, as you can see, my teenage girls, and
happy.
oh, they're about to get wings and fly. I'm
Yes.
going to cry a river.
I know. We're going to walk them down the aisle.
Not ready. Anyway, so yeah, it's just deciding what's my priority.
Yes.
For me, and family is really a priority for me. As I told you, from my mom's side.
Yes.
Yes.
The values that you picked and now.
Yes. And I've seen it work for me, because towards when I am at my, 80s, 90s, I'd like my family around me, or at least coming to visit me and all that and all that. Yeah. And I always remind myself, work is a livelihood, but you have a life. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge in working for public sector and growing? You've grown to director level.
Yeah.
How hard has that been?
Not hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're telling that junior accountant?
it's doable.
Okay.
Just be dedicated. I mean, have your values straight. It's like a stairs. It's like somebody up there asking you, how hard is it to get there? And also, well, rather than oversimplifying it, for me, I was and I always am a hard worker, but I always was lucky to have people to mentor me, and I stood on people who allowed me to stand on their shoulders and just go up. And I try also to look at people who I can also pull up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pulling others up as you're going up, yeah, is what I found works for me. But I must say, at some point, I had to choose between very high levels of career and family, and I decided to choose family.
Yes.
I have let go of some very high positions, especially because of this additional little one. Yeah, I realized that something has to give. Yeah. So,
and you are not going to sacrifice your child.
I was not going to sacrifice my children.
Your children, yeah.
Yes, I was not going to sacrifice my children. I needed to just always be in their lives. Yeah. So sometimes you just say, I can put a pause there, or I can put it on slow motion. Like there's a reel and then it's just going slow.
Yes.
Well, this other
so
one
you've
now.
not like stopped. There's still a time for that.
Exactly.
Once you organize.
Exactly. Or once my kids are a little bit older, I believe it's easier for me to give a bit more.
Yeah. And that's important for us women to know, because I think there's no answer, because I've been asking women who are more senior than me how they navigated, and every other woman just says, I don't know how I did it. Yeah. So I think it's harder for women,
of course,
especially because of mothering.
What I tell my colleagues at workplace is that let's say we're working late and you find that you have to push the hours 9 or 8. I tell them, I live here, I'm going home to start another job.
Of mother, so you still working?
So I'm very cognizant.
Maybe a more serious job, like.
So please. So sometimes I even just snap out of it and I'm like, dudes, it's been real. Cheers, Baba. I've gone home to my kids. And you behave like a mad woman, you just go home.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting for you and they're like, oh, come on, where's mama?
Yeah.
And they also really need you.
They do.
Yeah. And they also feel you need them.
Also.
Yeah, because they'll give you that, the thing that drives you. You know, the thing that drives you to keep on pushing on is them.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're growing each other.
Yeah.
We navigate and we keep growing
Yeah.
and growing. And thank you so much, Frankie. We can't finish this conversation because I can see these guys are telling me time is up, as always, especially when the story is just hot.
Becoming juicy. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to come back here and talk more about autism.
Definitely.
I believe it's
so
become
much.
our new baby now
Yeah.
to help the rest of the people coming after us, and also especially in Africa,
Yes.
to kill the stigma.
Definitely.
And to embrace diversity.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that is what we need to be on the road with.
Yes,
While
yes,
Gen
yes,
Zs are fighting for country,
Yeah.
we should be with the twigs like diversity.
Kabisa.
Yes.
It should be
Yeah.
it's the new norm, and they're
especially
and
in our school system, in our hospitals.
Yeah.
In the morning, I was speaking to a psychologist, so also mental wellness. Yeah.
And there's a lot. I know we're about to wrap up, but there's a lot. Like for me, things that have really stressed me out are school specifically. You're here being told by the doctor, take your child to playgroup. It's important for them to socialize. You go to school, they tell you, we can't deal with that one.
Schools is a nightmare.
So, I mean, you're like, oh my God. So weird. It's like you're rejected from the word. The minute you get that label, ka rejection kana
check
in. So you learn to push back. And even hospitals.
Yes.
There's a time I really had to throw a fit because you go to hospital, you're put in a regular waiting room, and you know our little babies will not sit still in a noisy place. You get so already they are. It's even they're gonna act up.
Yeah, and spaces.
Yeah, and the spaces.
Like
so
I used to see a doctor who had who was on 4th floor in an open window.
Yeah,
I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah,
like a child can just jump over.
Exactly. So I mean, they need to really. And I kept on telling hospitals, we are your forever customers.
Yeah.
How many times do you do therapy in the hospital?
Yeah.
For speech, for occupational therapy, you should be able to think about this customer who you will have for a long time.
Yes.
When they enter in there, this is not your typical child patient. Yes. So there's a lot to be done everywhere, even in churches.
Yes. I remember some people advocating also for churches.
Yes, even
to
in
include.
churches.
Yeah, and I love that churches have really woken up.
They have.
Schools are struggling because of capacity.
Yeah.
And that is how we have an opportunity to support.
Yeah.
I think churches are trying to integrate.
Yeah.
How has it been family level for your child?
Oh yeah. For my immediate family, I told you I started with acceptance. Then as I moved to the other bits.
That's for another day.
Yes. So my first agenda was to ensure everybody who's around me accepts it. We're not going to start doubting it. You know, like, is it true, ama umedanganywa? Because there's also a lot of that. There's a lot of misconception and lack of understanding about what is autism. And then autism is also a silent disability. I've been told severally, but your child ata akai kama akona shida. I know you've seen that.
Statement.
You get so hurt.
So
you're like,
annoying.
unataka kai aje?
You know what I'm
Don't
told?
You're told,
At least he's very handsome.
it's those things that you unataka nyumbani unachaka unasema,
at least he's handsome.
A good one.
Even teachers were telling me, at least he's handsome, so girls will not even need him to talk.
like that makes it any better anyway. And the funny thing is that the younger generation, they are so cool and easy. Like my kids are like, mom, what are you stressed about? Zara is just Zara. They treat her once like she's just kawa, drag her around. You know, I mean, they're like so, and I'm
you
like,
told me, but then you said autism is the future.
I was like, even some people think it's cool.
Exactly.
Like, to them, the stigma is not there.
Yeah, and I
which
like
is
because
really nice.
for them, they're authentic.
And
that's the difference between that. You remember how we said they're value driven.
Kabisa.
They're very authentic, so they don't even see the difference.
Yes.
But us, we were raised with this.
No, us, we are like goal oriented. Like success must mean.
It
looks already like this.
Yeah, I think our parents and teachers stated how success looks like, and so we were really confused when we didn't turn out that way,
or anything doesn't look a shape and form that way, including how a human being behaves or a child. Yeah,
good. So anyway, now we must wrap up. They'll kill me. So let's finally your final remarks. What would you tell a mother like you out there who is a career woman? Mother raising teens, a mother raising a child with additional needs. How would you encourage a mother out there?
I would encourage all mothers who are in various situations that they might find challenging to build a community amongst themselves. There is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. For me, I've really tapped into that. My village is my immediate family, my external family, friends, anybody who just has a kind heart, a good teacher here and there. So I am not about to be this superwoman and do it by yourself. Just build a loving village and community around yourself and your children, and go with the flow.
Yeah.
And really just trust God and be a prayerful woman.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank
you,
you.
Frankie. You are
Asante.
amazing.
Thank you.
And thank you
Time
so much
has
for
flown so
yes,
fast.
you can believe it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your insights and
thank you.
encouragement.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of mothers out there are stronger to see you carrying what you're carrying with grace and elegance and so much confidence, because that is who we are.
Yeah.
We are women.
Yes.
And we can get it done.
Yeah.
And we do it with grace and we do it with honor. So thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. We have to
Yeah.
do another one and talk
For
more
sure.
about, especially more about autism, to just also
Definitely.
help people to know what are
Yeah.
some of the
signs to look out
signs that you can
for.
see to be
Yeah.
able to have an early diagnosis,
Yes.
and also what are some of the interventions that will help
Definitely.
your child
Definitely.
to be able to navigate. And
Yeah.
as Frankie has said, autism is not a disease. Autism is it's neurodivergency.
Yes.
So your child is just growing differently. Especially their brain is developing differently.
Yeah.
So they might be really good at art or science or music,
Yeah.
and maybe not able to speak as eloquently as a typical child. They may be great in all those things, but not be good at socialization. They may be good in all those other things, but they just don't want to play with others, or they want to keep it to themselves. But what we know, we don't know much. We are not experts, but what we know is that an early diagnosis helps. Soon, Frankie and I are starting a beautiful school. So we'll have a school that will integrate children, and our aim is to help the future embrace diversity with confidence, with love and joy, and ensure that our families and our schools are holistic and happy. So that is actually our aim, and I cannot wait for that dream to come true. Now we have committed ourselves.
Yes,
again.
I can see.
It has to happen. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for joining us at Her Space. We look forward to meeting you in our next episode, where we meet more women who inspire other women. Asanteni sana. Please subscribe. Click the subscribe button and follow us on all our social media pages. This is Her Space, and I am your host, Edna Thiongombogwa. Thank you and goodbye.